What's going on, guys? We're back again today for another episode for Dragon Ball Legends. We're going to be covering all the new units in USTS 9, the Ultra Space Time Summon number 9. It's going to be very Universe 6 and Female Saiyan heavy. So we're going to jump right into it, you guys. Stick with me, and I'll see you in 1 second.
Want candy now?
So welcome everybody. We are here today. Again, we're going to be discussing the Ultra Space Time Summon number 9. We're going to do probably one multi-summon, some various other dailies and ticket summons, and we're going to review the banner as well. So why not this episode, since I only have one summon to do, let's just jump right in and do it. And we'll do the daily summons as well, then we'll start reviewing the characters. I hope that you guys, if you made any summons on this banner, you did have amazing luck. I don't think this banner is worth a huge investment, only because I think we should wait. We think something cool might be coming for Valentine's Day. This banner will still be available then, so no reason to rush things. Wow, this is looking like it's going to be just dead. Alright, that's unfortunate. But anyway, you guys, so we do have this new banner. It's going to feature, again, the Berserk Kale, Super Saiyan Cabba, and the Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla. We did cover that in a preview video yesterday, so that should help expedite this process a little bit. And if we don't get a transforming unit here, it looks like we're going to get the Uber Shaft. So that seems the way it's going to be. And again, there are daily login tickets for this banner, you guys, so definitely be sure to log in. Again, if you are summoning on this banner, I hope you did have amazing luck. I'm not super interested, again, personally. I think it is cool that Legends is diversifying the meta, having all different types of teams now at this point, where we're going to see stuff really coming into the light, where there's a lot of different usable metas. Now, my main investment or worry in this banner is I would really actually like to have the Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla, especially at 5 stars, because she is definitely going to be a great buffer for hit in the future. So we're going to get into all the characters here in 1 second. We'll make the daily summons, and I have a multi of tickets to do on Masters Pack 2. Maybe we'll get some reasonable luck there since we just got the shaft. And down in the comments, let me know what you guys are thinking. Are you pulling on this banner for these units? Are you just going to skip it? Are you going to just do the tickets? Obviously, everyone should do the tickets and the dailies, but, you know, what is your level of investment and interest in this banner? Let me know. So, again, I'm just really interested in hit, and because everyone seems to want to buff Universe 6 when they're at 5 stars, that presents a little bit of a problem. Now, Kale is somewhat skippable in that sense. She's just straight up defensive unit, so nothing too crazy there, but oh man, I haven't had a really good daily or a good summon since that cooler video that I made for this Legends Rising banner that's still currently active. Nothing good since then, you guys. Hopefully, that means things will turn around again some point soon, especially for Valentine's Day. If we get Rosé, I would certainly love that. There's a strong possibility of Brienne and potentially Rosé coming. Now, that's just me reading into the minds of the devs. I don't have any sort of concrete information on that, but if they were smart, and Japan usually does do like waifu and Valentine's Day banners, if they were, what? I skipped the animation. Hey, he's new for me. Okay. Well, that's interesting. The skip luck, you guys. I saw a crappy introduction. We got a brand new unit. Of course, he's maybe not the greatest unit, but great for your mono blue teams, and I don't know, something new for me. He'll be probably more interesting in the future when we have more options. I think an all Majin's team would be great. Honestly, I would have rather have had that daily sparking be a Mai or a future Trunks, but it is what it is. It's cool. You know, any daily sparking is a good sparking, especially if it's a unit you don't already have. So I'll take that as a W. Unfortunately, it wasn't on the Broly banner. I want to know down in the comments, did you guys get Broly or did you not get him at all? He was around for a while. I only managed to snag one copy of him ever, so that's about how that cookie crumbles. We got 2 new units today. I did buy the Cabba, and we got that Dabura there. So we'll throw these tickets at this Masters Pack here. I finally collected enough for a multi. I used a couple for singles, and then I decided to stop doing that. So, I wonder if anything good might show up. That Deburra might have pooped on our luck a little bit there for this, but again, I'm not upset with that. If it's anything new, fine by me. Add it to my collection. Alright, all bad signs here, unless we maybe just get a Transformer or an off-the-wall Sparking. It is possible, but unlikely. I wouldn't mind. Hey, we got B-Pan, new unit there, or Honey, Pan Honey. I didn't have her yet. I've actually not made any real summons on this banner yet. Oh, come on, give me something new. No Fasha, no Tora. We got the B-Pan, though. It's okay, I suppose. Alright, another one? Another chance? No. So, only one new unit there, no Sparkings. Again, hopefully you guys have been having amazing luck across all of your summons. That about wraps up all the summoning that I'm going to do for this video. So we're going to actually jump in here and cover the featured new units. So of course we previewed them. That'll help speed the process up a little bit here. We don't really have to look at their super moves either, but I guess we can just so it'll be included in this video as well. Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla actually coming out being the best unit on the banner, I think, and there's some future reasoning behind that as well, which I kind of already mentioned, but I was thinking Kale was going to be the best, but they tweaked Kale so she wouldn't make too much of a splash on the Holy Trinity team. We'll get to that when we get to her. But Caulifla here, 85k base strike attack when max level. That's going to come into play later. She can buff the ever-living bejesus out of herself and becomes a really, really good striker. Of course, we have Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Female Warrior, Universe 6. Nothing special on her arts cards, and no special effects on them either. We have the Crush Cannon here. Major explode damage, inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade, plus 20% to strike damage received for 15 timer counts on hit. We've covered moves like this plenty of times before. Unfortunately, the enemy can swap out of this debuff, and unless it's a 1v1 type situation where that's the last unit left, there's not a great way to force them to stick with this debuff. I mean, unless you're rocking Majin Buu or Green Bardock or something, you can lock them in. So keep that in mind there. It's a reason for them to force sub out their character. Her green card here, I believe, is identical to base form Kaioken Goku's green card. Just a flat 20% buff to the strike damage inflicted. Kaioken Goku's might be just 20% to all of his damage. I forget, but I know it's 20%. So very similar, reasonable green card. Again, this is one step in her stackable damage buffs here. So 85k strike attack, buffed it right there by 20%. Main ability, restores own ki by 50, and another 40% to strike damage inflicted from 15 timer counts. Cancels her own attribute downgrades. So this will put her at 60% if you combo it with one green card. 60% to strike damage inflicted. You can see the stackable buffs here. 26% to tag Female Warrior base strike attack during battle, which upgrades to include Universe 6 at 5 stars. I think this is huge because in my mind, I see Hit as a melee character. And of course, you'd want this bench or this active unit at 5 stars to go along with Hit to buff his damage. I really, really, really want to main Hit in this game when he becomes available. So that's where I see a lot of value. Not only is she a really good purple unit with crazy strike damage, but she's going to help Hit. So super loads of value in Caulifla here, where I thought she was going to be the second best, but she's actually now, in my opinion, the best unit on this banner. You have Anti-Saiyan Strike Up, 40% to strike damage inflicted against tagged Saiyan. So you're at 80% comboing this with the main ability, 100% if you throw one green card in the mix against Saiyans there. Don't run away. If this character is on the battlefield when the enemy swaps out to a different unit, your own ki gets restored by 30, and you get a stacking 15% to strike damage inflicted per female warrior ally that's on the team. So if you're running her with Kale and maybe another female warrior, like Android 18, something like that, you're going to get 30%. So then you're up to 130% strike damage buff when you combine the main ability, the passive, the green card. And then that's not really including the Z ability either and all this and that. So Amazing unit right here for buffable strike damage. Amazing unit for benching with the future Universe 6 team, which hopefully we get a really good Sparking Hit and a reasonably good Sparking Frost. Throw Caulifla Kale in the mix as well. Kefla. I think that the Universe 6 team, and Champa as well. We got a playable Beerus. No reason to expect there won't be a playable Champa. So there's your Universe 6 team as it stands right there, and I think it's going to be pretty good, you guys. But again, it's going to require some stars on our Caulifla here, and Kale as well. So keep that in mind. Next up, we do have the Berserk Super Saiyan Kale. Now, she will fit into your Holy Trinity teams, but like I had mentioned in the preview video, it is a fairly significant side grade. It's not going to be an upgrade to not running Gogeta. As you can see here, they made her a defensive type. You'd think she would be a melee type. It's Berserk Kale. Why wouldn't she be? But no, they realized that Holy Trinity might have too many powerful options, is what I'm assuming, and they made her a defensive type. So she is a reasonable side grade for that team. She'll have some defensive ability that she can add to it, but there are some problems, so we'll get into that. Of course, her strike and blast attack are not super great, but you can see here that not only is she a defensive type, but she's a defensive type that favors blast attack. So she's kind of like another purple Super Saiyan Broly on your team in the sense that she carries one red, one yellow card, and her main focus type is blast. So that would be running her purple Broly and Super Saiyan Bardock, 2 blast-based characters, and a support strike-based character. So kind of an odd mix. The balance of cards still does work out to be playable, but again, it's just not as functional for rapidly destroying and dismantling your enemy team as Gogeta is. You also lose your feint access, and you lose the heal that Gogeta gets from enacting his main ability, a powerful Ultimate Arts card technique as well with Ki Restore on that. So that, again, there are some significant drawbacks for bringing Kale instead. However, she is most likely going to be able to take a lot more damage, and she's got a really cool combo breaker mechanic. So nothing special on reds or yellows for her either. Major explode damage, I was about to say impact. Major explode damage inflicts enemy with a tribute downgrade +5 to substitution count for 15 timer counts on hit. This one is actually relatively useful in terms of debuffs. Because it actually affects substitution, it's going to have effect when they sub their character out to switch to a different one. So this is one debuff on blue cards that is actually relatively functional. Green card restores her own health by 15%, plus 15% to blast damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. So I kind of take back what I had mentioned earlier about Gogeta and him having a heal. She does as well, kind of have a heal going on here as well, somewhat dependent on drawing green cards, but it's actually similar to the Super Saiyan Bardock on the team. So you'll now have 2 characters with improved sustain via healing on their green cards. So that is something to keep in mind. Still, you're missing out on the feint, the incredible damage, and the ultimate arts that Gogeta has, but I do retract my statement earlier about healing. She does have some healing here. I actually read that earlier, but I forgot. Sorry, you guys. Moving on to the main ability, Uncontrollable Power. Applies the following effects to self. 10% to damage inflicted for 10 timer counts after enemy attack is over. Inflicts enemy with a tribute downgrade. 10% to damage received for 10 timer counts every time this character uses an arts card. Very, very interesting. Now, I don't know if these are permanent buffs or not. Like, it's very weirdly worded here. I would honestly want to see her in action to be able to play test her. But it seems like for the rest of the fight, once you activate this main ability, you either get this similar to Ikari Broly's scaling damage buff for using an attack, but after you get hit, so it's like the opposite of the Ikari Broly, it's more of a defensive version of that. I don't know if it just only lasts for 10 timer counts and then you lose this passive, or if it's something that happens every time you get hit for the rest of the battle. So this is very interesting, you guys. Kind of, I mean, it's not confusing at face value. You see what it does, but how long it lasts, that's what's kind of confusing me. So use the main ability. I'm assuming this is kind of like a pseudo, like a weaker transformation. Maybe where she just goes berserk and powers up a little bit, but doesn't actually transform, because her card is pre-transformed. So hopefully this lasts for the duration of the battle, but if anyone's pulled her and had a chance to use her, let me know down in the comments. Interesting, scaling damage and scaling damage received on both her and the enemy. It's just how long it lasts really determines how good that really is. You know, damage buffs are great. You know, for a defensive unit, you know, buffing their damage, it's pretty useful because usually they don't have very good ways to do that. Female warrior base blast defense, and at 5 stars it upgrades to universe 6 base blast defense only. Not a very good Z ability, you guys. Even when it upgrades to 5 stars, it does have some use, but not very much. I mean, again, it'll be helpful for you squaring up against other versions of Kale, other Super Saiyan Broly, stuff like that, but really one of the less useful Z abilities in my personal opinion. I mean, I like defensive ones, but it's better when they're comboed with an offensive buff as well. Even if the percentage is a little bit lower, the double buffs are better than just solo defensive buffs. And strike defense, I think, would be a better defensive buff than blast, but whatever, you guys, it is what it is. She's not a very good bench unit. Intimidate, sustain blast damage up, inflicts enemy with a tribute downgrade plus 20% to blast damage received for 15 timer counts when this character enters the battlefield. Again, having a defensive unit with some offensive options adds value to the card, and it helps make up some of the loss you're going to be feeling from losing Gogeta when you swap her in potentially in his stead. So again, I'm thinking the Holy Trinity is still better with Gogeta overall, but this is a viable option here, you guys. There's nothing necessarily wrong with running it with her instead, and it's just cool having Kale and Broly, you know, raged out on the same team. I don't mind, just not as much damage. Cover, destroy card. This is probably her most interesting mechanic right here. If you cover changed with her, and that means, of course, you're in the middle of a combo, you're taking damage, you swap her in that situation, it'll randomly destroy 2 enemy cards, and you will also get 30% to damage inflicted for 15 timer counts, and plus 2 to your own substitution count when it activates. So again, more scaling damage options for a defensive unit. The card destruction does effectively work as a combo breaker, but it's not going to help if they are just going to Rising Rush you instead. So be wary of that. You want to use this, you know, in a situation where the enemy is leading in their combo, they've only used 1 card or 2, then you're going to want to use this. You're not going to want to use it late in the combo because you won't get too much value out of it. And you're also not going to want to use it in a sense where you know you're going to get Rising Rushed, or potentially you're going to get Rising Rushed, because it doesn't matter if they have cards in that situation. Now, something else that is worth mentioning about this is normally right now at top tier play, you want to time your cover change, your character swap-ins, when you see a combo ender, like an Ultimate Arts technique or a blue card special move. That's when you typically sub your next character in, because it'll A, save your previous character from potentially getting killed, and B, you know that they cannot follow that up with something like a Rising Rush or any more combo. Like, you can't combo out of a blue card, you can't combo out of an Ultimate Arts technique. So that's generally when the most ideal time to swap is. Now with Kale, that is going to be different. You're not going to want to swap in at the end of the combo, again, like I just mentioned, because they're not going to have any cards in their hand, so you'll lose a lot of the effective benefits of swapping. So for her, swap in early, you know, again, unless you think you're about to get Rising Rush. That's the main concern. And as well, the enemy will be able to have her swap in, then activate their main ability to get an Ultimate Arts card. So it is important to note that you just want to play this really strategically, but it is a very useful ability and great for a defensive unit to have. Out of the new sparking units, the last one here is Cabba. The most exciting thing about him, honestly, for me, is seeing Super Saiyan God Blue Vegeta in the background. I really think they're coming soon, that we're going to be getting some pretty cool epic stuff really soon, you guys. So there is that. That's the most exciting. The card art is amazing. His special move, we saw yesterday, it's literally like copy and paste Gallic Gun here. So nothing out of the ordinary whatsoever. Awesome. We've seen many characters that use that, and I think my Shallot is even equipped with the Gallic Gun right now. So, show details. He is a support type, green as well, so you gotta watch out with Caulifla matchups, and Broly, of course. They're huge in the meta right now, so definitely got to be careful there. Stats, 80,000 blast attack, so he is blast focused support, kind of like Kale is blast focused defense, but his base stats are better than hers. I'm pretty sure that she has better buffing mechanics for herself going on, but just at a base level, very similar. I mean, red and yellow as well, very similar to Kale. Super Saiyan, Saiyan Universe 6. You want to run Cabba here on your Holy Trinity team, you guys? That could be interesting. He's green, he's Super Saiyan, he's better than IT Goku, but maybe not for those other units. For Universe 6, definitely, but nothing out of the ordinary on reds or yellows. Gallic Gun, of course, major impact damage, 15% to damage inflicted for 10 timer counts upon activation. This is a good buff. It gives 15% to his damage inflicted. It's not tied to a debuff being on a specific enemy. So this is a good example of a good buff that you see on a blue card there. Just a blanket buff to your own damage on using it, not something the enemy can swap out of. Green card here, upgraded version of Caulifla's green card here, 25% blanketed across all damage types for all your allies. So 5% more, and it applies to everyone. So we are seeing now the support characteristics of this Cabba support type in action here. Awakened Pride, restores own health by 35%, cancels allies' attribute downgrades and abnormal conditions. A little bit weak. Main ability is a little bit weak. It does give him some good sustain. It's worth more than, I think, 2.5 green cards on Kale, so there is that. And you get the team attribute downgrades and stuff, but not a huge fan of this one, you guys. The heal, again, it'll help him stay in combat longer, but comparatively speaking to some other heals and some other supportive main abilities we've seen recently, this one is kind of weak. 16% to element green base maxed health, not very useful at all. Mono green teams are non-existent in the meta right now, so this is not helpful. If you get him to 5 stars, of course the Universe 6 gets added onto it as well, and then it becomes pretty useful. It's like the PyCon buff in a sense for this team, or what is it, like Zamasu, I believe, for the future tag. Either way, not very helpful Z ability here either. Both Kale and Cabba's Z abilities leave a lot to be desired, but Caulifla, especially at 5 stars for hit in the future, amazing Z ability. She's definitely the best. Unique ability here for Cabba, Diligent Effort, 20% to blast damage inflicted for blah 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 blah. This is the exact same passive we just saw on Bojack, and it's as well on Super Vegeta, the yellow Super Saiyan Super Vegeta. This is identical. Basically, the longer the character is in battle, the more his damage is going to scale up. Now, when I say identical, I'm not 100% sure if the actual percentages and the time counts are identical as well, but just the way it functions is the same as Bojack and Super Vegeta. Just the longer he's in battle, more blast damage, that resets every time he swaps out. Second passive, assist Vegeta and Universe 6 strike attack up, plus 40% to the strike damage of allied characters of any Vegeta or any Universe 6 warrior for 15 timer counts when you switch Cabba out of play. So again, supportive ability there. It makes sense why it's Vegeta, and also kind of adds to the fact as why Super Vegeta is on the banner, so it is somewhat relevant. Now Cell, no earthly idea why Cell, Perfect Cell, is on this banner being recycled. Maybe it's because Cell is about to start being relevant in the game's main story. That's the only thing I could think of. I have no idea why Cell is tied into this banner. I mean, he's a future warrior and an android. He's not tied to any of the other characters in any way that I can think of off the top of my head. But we've covered all of them, you guys. Again, Super Vegeta is being recycled. Cell is being recycled. There is a new Extreme Caulifla as well. She is a red buffer, so red blast attack and defense. It could be reasonable for your mono red teams, or you could try and pair her up with Caulifla or Kale as well. Just extra female warrior. Just she's going to be selfish on that team in terms of Z ability. These passives here, they're a little bit more helpful than her Z ability will be. Stats, not awful, kind of actually in line with these supportive and defensive base values of some of the stats we see on Kale and Caulifla. And Crush Cannon probably looks the same. Vanish Gauge Restore, that's fairly useful. So she's actually a playable extreme unit, not so much a good bench unit. More playable for her. that's all the new units, you guys, analyzed just by themselves. We'll have to see how they impact the meta and shake things up. For now, I don't think any of them is going to have a huge splash. You will probably see people running the Kale on Holy Trinity teams. You will probably see more female warrior teams start to develop. Universe 6 will be an option for more whale type players that can get all the units to 5 stars, which out of all of them, I would most want Caulifla at 5 stars. She is, again, the best unit on the banner in my opinion. She'll pair well right now more on female warriors and with Kale, but in the future when Hit comes out, that's where her true value is going to be unlocked. For people that want to main Hit, this Caulifla will be very important, again, in the future. I've said that plenty of times, you guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video. That's about all for today. If you enjoyed it, consider throwing a like on it. Help spread it out there. I supremely appreciate each and every one of you guys. That helps me out. If you're new here, I'd love to see you again on future uploads, so consider subscribing. Again, we'll be having more Legends content coming out fairly regularly, almost daily, but not quite. Probably daily when I get my new computer, you guys. That'll help speed everything up. It should hopefully be here soon. So other than that, you guys, do comment down below with your thoughts on summoning on this banner, your thoughts on the new units, your thoughts on what might be coming up soon in the game. It seems like Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta is taking a back burner for now. I think, again, Brienne and Rose might be showing up for Valentine's Day. And that's about it, you guys. I won't hold you here any longer. Peace out, have a good one, and I'll see you next time.